Okay, let's see if we can extend our program to also factorising the quadratic. Let's get the shell up first. I need to sort of break out of my program. Control C breaks me out. And now let's take a look at this value here, x2. And remember, it's just x really, it's the second root. So if I got this, x equals minus 1, think in maths what that really means. So if I added 1 to each side of the equation, so if I did here x plus 1 and minus 1 plus 1, so I've added x to each side of the equation, these two are going to cancel out, so 1 minus 1 is 0, and I have this this equation left over. So x plus 1 equals 0. So that's the root. Okay, so when it becomes 0, that's the root, and that's how I got the x plus 1 from that, and that would be one of the factors in my equation. Whoops, yeah, put the right bracket in, and you can see that one up here, x plus 1. And the same happened with the other one. I'm just going to round it a little bit. So what we had in the other equation was x equals 0.67. So what I did was I took off 0.67 from this side and took off 0.67 from this side. So this would equate to 0, and then I've got my second factor. So that's how to write the two factors that we've got. So I've got x minus 0.67 and x plus 1. We've just seen how we got those as factors. All we need to do is sort of understand the fact that whatever the value of a is, that's going to be in front of the equation. So a in this case, when we entered it in, was 3. So I would have, well, let's just use this as it is. I would have 3 in front of them, and then I'd have my two factors. There we go, with my two roots. Equals 0, and that's correct. That's factorised the actual quadratic, and the quadratic was, if I remember rightly, 3x squared, and then I had plus x, and then I can't remember, minus 2 or minus 3 in there. It's up here, isn't it? 3x squared plus x minus 2. There we go. So that was the original quadratic. That is the quadratic factorised, and these two here are the roots. But the signs of the roots are opposite, and we can see why it's going to be a root when. Let's put this back here. Let's just ignore. Well, let's not ignore it, let's put it back in. So this one, 3 minus 0.67, and this one is easier to see, x plus 1 equals 0. Oops. This is true if any of these three items here become 0, because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So if this becomes 0 here, then the whole equation becomes 0, and the only way that that can become 0 is if x is minus 1, the root that we got here. So that becomes 0, the whole equation becomes 0. And the same with the other side, so let's put that back. whoops, too far. This whole bracket, this whole expression here, can only become 0 if that x there is 0.67. Then all of that works out to be 0. Oh, losing it. There we go. If all of that becomes 0, so it's 3 times 0, which is 0, times 0, x plus 1, which is 0, gives me 0. So if either of these brackets becomes 0, then that's what gives us the root. Now hopefully you followed along with that. That's going to give us some useful information to be able to write out our factors in our program. So we'll take a look at that in the next video.